Hello, so depending on what review you read or you watch, you'll see very conflicting opinions in some of them, but most of them will say the game is great. Well, think about Cyberpunk and other games that are AAA and have a big budget. So the game falls into the category of a great visual spectacle. So let me give you the short review and then we'll speak about the map, the gear, the RPG, the quest, the RPG, I don't know, systems if you want. And we'll also do a quest, talk to Professor Fig and you'll see what I mean and other stuff as well. So the short story is the game is not worth the price. This is a 20 euros game. You might say already, isn't that too little? No. The game does a few things very good. And the world building is amazing. Hogwarts is amazing. This is the best representation of Hogwarts you'll ever see anytime. I think not even games that come after this one will make Hogwarts look better or, I don't know, more magical or more interesting. So this is the best you're going to get out of Hogwarts. It's actually pretty faithful to the books, the spells, the characters, some of the things you see, especially the visuals. The visuals are great. Also, they do a good job of giving you a lot of activities. So the collections, the challenges. You also have an inventory system. I'll speak about it a little later. You can also craft, you can also do other things, you can find stuff, you can do many things. Also the quest system is decent, but I'll get into the problems a little later. Now, what are the bad things and why does it drag the score down so much for me? Well, first of all, the performance. The performance is trash. The performance is basically how lucky are you to be able to run the game. So I was running the game at high settings because if you do the game how the benchmark recommends, you'll see that the game recommends you. If you run the benchmark, everything here will be high. My settings will be much better than what they are now. And the game will also suggest I use FSR, which FSR is not really working out for me. I don't like how it makes the game look blurry and stuff. So basically the game is super badly optimized. I think it's one of the worst optimized games I've seen in a very long time, and people as well. Basically people who paid 3 times more for their computers as I did are complaining about the same issues as I am complaining, because they have a lot of problems with performance, with textures popping, with various visual bugs, and also random FPS drops and other things. So for example, FPS dropped by 40 FPS. So FPS is okay, so FPS is maxed out, well, about 50, let's say. You enter the menu, you exit the menu and you run around a little bit. It drops by about 20 FPS. I'm not joking, that's how badly coded the game is. On console it's a lot better because of various reasons and limitations, but on here it's not so good. Another big reason I'm down my review so bad is because of the political influences of the game. I don't want to get into details, but when you create your character, you are able to select all of the features. So you can have all of the features on the same character. It doesn't matter. For example, hair, face, scars. Again, you can put everything you want on your character, yes? And after you do all of those, and you can select any voice you like, and I mean, nothing wrong depending on who you ask, but at the end, they ask you what dormitory do you want to live in, the boys or the girls, and that's where things get very clouded. And also, if you speak with some other characters, you will see various political lines, and also there is there's a certain character that caused a lot of problems, or makes you wonder a lot of things in Hogsmeade. So again, the game is supposed to be designed, I don't know, for children, for ages 8 to 14. That's kind of like the game's scope and the plot, if you want to think about it. Nothing very complex, nothing very interesting in my opinion. The plot is the weakest part of the game. It's actually pretty weird. But the game, I wouldn't let anyone be below the age of 14 to 16 play it, just because of these influences. And influencers will not talk about this, but I think the political facts about this game are way out of line. I don't know.
On another adventure, are we?
Maybe I'm just old-fashioned, but the political correctitude and the political, influences of this game are just too much. It will badly affect children, it will badly affect people who love the book if they get into the game and start believing those things. So it's it's a propaganda, political propaganda. If the game didn't have the political propaganda, I could have overlooked the performance issues without any problems, but even with that, the game is a visual spectacle and everything is so shallow. So that's kind of like my review. If you want a score, I would give it a 6 out of 10. Just because the performance and also the political influences drag it solo, but also the shallow world and the shallow gameplay. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, for example, this is your gear, right? You have 6 equipable items over here. You also have the wand handles and some other things. You can create your own wand, and they do insist a lot of wand. You'll hear this word a lot of times. The mounts, the broom, and some other things. But what is the problem? This is not a real RPG system. So for example, this is only used in combat, right? Right. I have 5 types of gloves, right? Right. So the problem is that for example, I was playing 2 hours, for example. And in those 2 hours, I think I found 40 pieces of gear or something like that. Okay, let's say in 2 hours we found 20 pieces of gear, right? I didn't go into combat even once, so all of the gear I found was basically me doing this. I have a new gear. I have new gear. I have new gear. I have new gear. And that's how repetitive it will get at some point, and you'll get new equipment, you'll swap it out over and over without actually fighting or using it for anything else. And then guess what? There is a gear limit. You can only have 20 pieces of gear in total. So out of these 6 categories, if you exceed 20, you'll have to sell them. And one of these sells for let's say this one sells for 90 gold. How much is that? Well, a spell or an item that you need or something you will need, a spell or in the recipe or something like that, is about 1000 gold or 2000 gold. So all of those things I gathered in 2 hours were not even enough to buy me one good spell or one valuable thing. So that's how badly this is designed, and you'll spend a lot of time searching for loot, and the loot you get you will equip and it will have no influence over you, because later on you'll unlock these things, the collections. Invisible neckwear. This is the dark arts. I think this is only available from the deluxe edition of the game, so at some point you'll just put this I forgot what it's called in the MMORPGs. I guess you just override the way the item looks and give it a new skin. Which, to be honest, is a little interesting. Also, some of the clothing items are kind of unisex, and again, that goes into the political stuff. Again, I don't want to insist too much on that, but I think it's kind of disgusting what they did with the game and how they want people to believe games designed for children are supposed to make them, you know, feel weird, or I don't know. I guess the main problem is that this game doesn't make you feel like you're in a magical world, because you have a magical world and on the other side you have political waves, and pushing those political norms way too much, in my opinion. It kind of destroys some of the magic. So yeah, all of the gear you collect is useless and it's not even worth selling, so sometimes you'll just go collect loot and just destroy it. Inventory system. Here you'll collect a lot of things. I know more about the game that I haven't played a lot because I was waiting for a patch for day 1 and the day 1 patch didn't come, so I was playing little by little. I think I have 6 hours in the game. Yeah, in 6 hours you don't even make the minimum spells and things needed to explore Hogwarts. You'll explore and you'll see things you cannot interact with. For example, let me show you what I mean.
Revelio.
Usually you cast Revelio to reveal stuff around you, like secrets or locked doors or stuff like that. Look at the FPS dropping and doing stuff like this. Somewhere, in some places you'll find certain doors. Oh, watch this. This is a loading screen. You have to wait until it loads it. And if you exit and go back again, you have to wait until it loads it again. The loading time is not too big, right? But the problem is that sometimes it will not load the level properly until you wait a few seconds. So even if the doors open, the textures will still load and the FPS will drop a lot. well, curiously, I'm not seeing any activities or anything we can interact with for a while.
Revelio.
We'll also catch a lot of field guide pages. Oh yeah, finally a lock. And that's about it. So you'll find certain doors that have kind of like this numerical puzzle to them. It will say a number and you have to figure out the puzzle. Well, to actually be able to open those doors, you need a cheat code or to see what they mean. And to get that cheat code, Hitmancy study guide, you need to go. This is the fun stuff. So as you can see, you have numbers and this kind of a code. You have to select 2 of them. To get this page, you need to go to a certain location. Let me see, where was it? I think it was the library annex. And you have to go to the library annex and you have to go to the divination classroom, and let me show you how fast travel is. You will probably spend a minute over here. Again, nobody tells you. So another good thing about the game is that the game has a lot of hidden things. So if you don't read any guides, you will not figure anything out, and that can be a problem sometimes because some of the things you will unlock by progressing the main quest, like spells to do certain things, like open locks, you need to do the main quest until you reach the point where it shows you. But other things like doing the puzzle doors with numbers, you need to go to this place and pick up a piece of paper, and that's it. You have no tips, no hints, no nothing. And I just wanted to show you how fast the fast travel system is, because I think they programmed the game very badly. The game should have had self-contained sections, but instead of self-contained sections, you'll have areas which have to load the textures, because the game is so visually uploaded, it's so visually loaded, that the game cannot function on its own. I think the backbone of the game is being destroyed by the extreme fatty weight of the visual design team. And like usual, the art design team carries the entire game. So I would have wished for a more gameplay focused adventure, but it's not.
Broadens the mind.
So that was about 1 minute, and in many situations it's actually faster to travel like this instead of using the fast travel system. So you have to come again. This is what you have to do, and I'm not joking. This is what you have to do for this. I think the piece of paper was somewhere over here, and as you can see, you'll need to roll the figures until you have a certain amount of number. It's a pretty easy puzzle, but you need a cheat sheet for this, otherwise it will not work. And guess what? The only way you're going to be able to use it is going in your inventory, going over here, pressing F, looking at this, exiting the menu, exiting again, then rolling again, doing the math. Here will be it will be kind of like a triangle type of deal. So it will have, let's say, 10 in the middle, 6, 0, and then you'll have a question mark, and the question mark has to be one of these. And in case you forget, you have to go into the inventory again, click over here. Or alternatively, you can print it out or put it, I don't know, on your mobile phone. That works as well. Yeah, that's how weird it can get. Also, the game is, I think if you play 100 hours of the game, I think about a third of the game is bloated content, because most of the times you'll backtrack, you'll do quest being held hand, and while doing a quest, okay, this is the funny part, while doing a quest, you will not be able to stray away from the NPC. I'm not joking. Yeah, you can get further away than most games, but when I was in Hogsmeade, you probably saw it from a lot of videos, if I got too far away from Sebastian, I got a 15 seconds counter, red counter, 15 seconds, 14, 13, until what? Doomsday counter, the doomsday clock. And you just lose FPS randomly like that by just running around and not doing anything. The combat is the best part of the game, but unfortunately there is so little combat in the game, you almost don't see it or feel it. See, it was much faster than to simply walk there than to use the fast travel system, because the game has bad code.
Revelio.
And now... yeah, you have a lot of collections, you have a lot of things to do, but like I said, the gear is mostly useless, this is mostly useless, it's a lot of cosmetic stuff. You can design the wood type, the core type, the flexibility, bendy wand. Imagine this, the developer was supposed to code you selecting the flexibility of your wand. You want it to be bendy, flexible, unyielding, sturdy, hard. I'm not joking, there are about 15 adjectives for your wand. So yeah, I guess it's good to waste time, but I have problems with the game design in general and some other things.
Revelio.
In my opinion, if there was more combat, if the dialogue was better, if the story was better, the plot was better, if you are not so handheld, if you actually had classes to go to, if you had a schedule, if you had... I don't know, if you had more immersion and if you didn't have modern political things, this game could have been the best game of the year, but as it is right now, it's so bloated you will not even believe it. I'll play it because I am a fan of magical. I mean, I'm a big child and I like to look at magic things and do stuff like this because the real world is quite sad. Oh, by the way, some of the chests will have 50 gold and 50 gold is useless. Okay, that actually looks decent. But you probably have to destroy this because you will not have a lot of vendors, so the game expects you to find items, and with the items you find, you're supposed to go to Hogsmeade and sell them. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the inventory and the other stuff. Pretty self-explanatory inventory, we went over it a little bit. Collections. Not much to say over here. You can collect stuff. Enemies are my favorite one because you have a bestiary. A game that doesn't have a bestiary loses points in my opinion. But this one has, and you can see you can craft potions, traits and other stuff. You have so many things, vendors. You have a lot of things to collect that this is the best part of the game, collecting and exploring things in the Hogwarts world. The challenges are pretty good as well, but finding field guide pages are sometimes not so interesting. The room of requirement is a room where you have to interact with the objects. It's quite a fun one as well, but again, there are far and few between. So for example, you play for 2 hours and you only get to do 1 combat, you only get to do 1 or 2 secondary quests, usually which doesn't have a good reward. You just get a level up, and level ups are not so important because you get more HP, but the stats you get from... Anyway, it's a lot to say. Just know that you need about 20 hours for the game to get started because it's so slow. I'm not joking. You might need to play 50 hours just to unlock all of the things in the game, and another 50 hours to collect most of the things in the game, and probably 150 hours to collect everything and do everything in the game because it's so bloated and so... Anyway, world map. The world map is actually pretty big and you'll have a lot of things to do. Look at all of the things that you have in Hogsmeade Valley. Enemy level is 1 to 25. And the enemies will just get much stronger. The Forbidden Forest has a big FPS problem, but it also has some of the strongest enemies. And our current level is... I think it's 11. So we're basically out-leveling the first areas of the game. And you might think, what do you mean I'm over-leveling them? Well, unless the minimum requirement, yeah, we're kind of out-leveling most of the areas because we played a lot and collected a lot of loot. Balloons, again, all of these things we haven't even unlocked yet. Okay, now let's do that quest from start to beginning so you can see how a quest is done, how the performance affects the game. What things are in the teacher's... Professor Fig? Oh, we have to wait, okay. You also pass the time by waiting so you can switch from day to night. We were sitting on the carpet until he arrived in his desk. Oh, that's brilliant. F to wait, to change it from day to night time. In case you're wondering how I did that.
Professor, I'm glad to see you.
And I you. Thank Merlin you're in one piece. I heard about the attack. Trolls in Hogsmeade?
Sir, the trolls were wearing armor. It had that dark glow like the dragon collar.
Goblin silver. Ranrock used it to control the dragon. But how? And why send trolls too?
They were there because of me. I overheard Ranrock talking with Victor Rookwood.
Ranrock was in Hogsmeade with Rookwood.
The trolls were Ranrock's distraction so that Rookwood could get to me, and he would have had Sirona and the patrons at the Three Broomsticks not intervened.
This is grave news indeed. If Ranrock's goblins and dark wizards are after you, they want what we found in that vault.
Speaking of the vault, do you think that Ranrock is working with any of the goblins at Gringotts?
I do not. Gringotts goblins aren't typically the friendliest of beings, but they have a great deal of integrity. No, I dare say after what happened to that poor banker, the goblins at Gringotts are no followers of Ranrock.
Yeah, the story does make sense. Actually, he came with a guard from Gringotts, and now he's telling me the guards at the goblins at Gringotts don't work with him. That's false. They work with him. The guard was working directly with him.
They're after the locket. You said you discovered something in it.
Yes. I discovered an inscription. When I read it aloud, this map appeared. Clever enchantment. It's a map of Hogwarts, to be sure, but I do not know where it leads.
It leads to the library. The restricted section, to be precise, and a bit beyond. I see traces of magic there on the map.
I suspected you would see something.
Should we go?
I appreciate your enthusiasm, and I'm eager to discover what we may find there as well. But if our experience at Gringotts, let alone what happened to Miriam, taught me anything, it's that the path we're on is terribly dangerous. I'd like you to work with Professor Hecat a bit before we continue.
But sir, how dangerous could the library be? Perhaps we're only after a book.
Perhaps we are only after a book, but we should be prepared for anything. Once you've honed your defensive magic further, come and see me.
And also, you start as a year 5 student, which shouldn't really be a thing, but it's a thing. And that was a quest. Okay, let's report to Professor Hecat as well. No! Get away from me, old man.
Careful now.
Oh. Yeah, the game does have its own fair share of bugs. Also reduce the population of Hogwarts and surrounding, because having more people in the same area as you drastically reduces your performance as well. So I had to reduce the population, which is a shame because the game works much better when there are lots of people doing lots of things in the world. Also, you see copies of the same people at the same time, so sometimes you'll see the same person. I mean, you'll see twins sitting at a table in Hogsmeade, for example. Oh wow, the FPS is so wobbly, I don't understand it.
Revelio.
I didn't collect this one. Most of the time you'll be collecting scrolls.
To discuss.
So you probably visit this classroom 3 or 4 or 5 times, and then you'll be able to open the lock about after 20 hours maybe, depending on how much dialogue you
I
skip.
hear about the new spell you wanted to teach me, Professor.
Good. Professor Fig indicated a certain urgency to you completing your defensive magic assignments. As such, you are to learn Incendio, the fire-making spell, handy for lighting torches, burning away spider webs, and, when necessary, defending against those who would wish to do us harm.
Sounds versatile.
Quite.
And
But before we
dangerous.
get started, I'd like you to complete a few tasks. You may be surprised by some of them. Astonishing how much students don't think their professors know. When you're finished, come and see me. Then we shall begin working on Incendio. You know where to find me once you've finished.
Okay, so you're supposed to win to win across one's battle. I already completed one before the quest started, so you can do some of the quests or the, well, I don't want to say challenges or mini games, but you can do them as well before you get the quest. So it's an interesting thing that you can do them before you get the actual quest. But let me look at the quest. So we basically wasted about 5 minutes or more, I guess more, to get a quest. So when you get a quest, you get nothing. He says he found the map. Can you go to the location of the map? Nope. He then sends you to learn more spells with your teacher. Can the teacher teach you the spells? Nope. And then the teacher sends you to win some dueling rounds. Can you win the dueling rounds? Yes, but you need to win 2. And then you need to do the combat practice, and then you need to go back to the professor, and then you have to learn a new spell that you will use in combat maybe, and to unlock certain pathways that you will find out later. And as you can see, this is kind of complex and complicated in my opinion, and this is how the game will be a lot of times. You'll go to a location to do a quest, you'll come back to that location to do a secondary quest, you'll do a lot of things in a location, and then finally you'll go back without a quest marker to solve puzzles and interactions after you get a certain spell from the main quest. It's a little long-winded for my taste, I don't know. The game is good when it comes to things like this, but I just wish, I don't know, I just wish some games had various changes to them so they would be a lot better, but sometimes you just have to be happy with what you get, and that's why I'm playing the game right now, and I'll fully finish the game. Even though it's not very popular, even though it's not very fun to watch, I will complete it. Because I like magic, I like stuff like this. This is why I'm playing games for magical worlds and immersion like this. And nothing will stop me, not even politics, not even bad quest design, not even lazy RPG designs, not even bad mini games or other things. I'll enjoy whatever I can from the game. It's very expensive. To be honest, this game is very expensive for our current economy, especially in Eastern Europe or other places of the world. I mean, in what country is this game cheap? No country, except if you have a high salary or your parents are rich. Don't look at her. Ew. Don't look at her walking away. That's creepy and sad. Anyway, see you next time. Bye.